Hello there, welcome to Womblin. As you can see, I'm in the garden today. It's the back end of February and you can just begin to feel the warmth beginning to come into the air. It's about 10-11 degrees out here today, which is why I'm wearing a t-shirt. And what I want to do is trying to work out what I'm going to do in the garden this year. We had a sort of mixture of plants last year. We had a little bit of success with some of the crops, but it's only this tiny little space. So what I want to do this year is to try and grow some edible mushrooms. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to inoculate these logs behind me, and I'll show you how that was made in a second, with oyster mushrooms, which are obviously an edible mushroom, quite a sought after mushroom to be fair. And how I'm going to do that is to use these inoculated dowels that I bought from a friend on Facebook, Ash, thank you very much. And the links to get in touch with him if you want to do it yourself are down below. And what I'm going to do is drill some holes into these logs and then push these dowels, individual dowels in there. And then hopefully in a few months' time, maybe a year's time, we'll have some edible mushrooms. So if you stick with me, I'll show you how I'm doing it. Now, first things first, you can see here I've got this stack of logs, a couple of birch on top of there, and I'm not 100% sure what these are on the bottom, but it's worth a try, isn't it? I've also got these bits of ash that I've had in the garden for a year. This was a sort of hedgehog hidey hole, but we've not really seen hide in the hair of the hedgehog this year. And so, yeah, I'm going to put various different types of mushrooms. I've got yellow oysters, there. I've got king oysters, there. And I've got grey oysters there. Okay, so all I've done is I've got these logs, I've cut them down to about 2 foot long, and I've made a little rack so that they'll sit without falling over and causing any problems. So this is what I'm going to use to do the inoculation. I've got a drill there. It's got a 7mm bit on it because these are 6mm dowels. They're obviously already sprouting a little bit. I've had them in the fridge for a while and they've started to swell up a little bit. I need a hammer to drive the plugs in once I've drilled the holes, and a little driver there as well, just to make sure that they are in. And then in here, I've got some wax. It is actually wax and sawdust, which I actually use for firelighters, but I'm going to melt that down on the fire. And then paint it over the holes afterwards to seal it all in. As you can see on the drill bit there, I've put a bit of tape on so I know how far to drill in. I don't want to drive them in too far. So yeah, that's what I'm going to need. Now this is the first time I've done this, and when I've looked online, a lot of these say that they need to be freshly cut. Now these aren't freshly cut. This was a down tree in some woodland not far away from here, and it is a little bit soft. So I'm literally just doing an experiment. Hopefully it works, but there's only one way to find out, and that's by doing it, I suppose. So all I'm going to do, every 4 inches in from the end, or 2 inches in from the end I think I'll do, is I'll put a hole, and then I'll drive the things in. So if I start doing that, about 2 inches in, and you can see how soft that is. It should be harder than that, but we'll try. And I'm just going up to where the little white bit is on the drill that I showed you earlier. About 4 inches, 10 centimetres, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, these do feel a little bit soft. And then I'm going to go 2 inches above there and then do the same 4 inches along here. So and then one last one on the top here. One last row, like that. Okay, then I'm going to take the dowels. These are the dowels here. So this is the yellow oysters, like I said, and you can actually see they've started to stick together. Like I said, I've had them in the fridge for a while, and they've actually started to sort of grow a little bit. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to try and keep. When Ash sent me them, they came with some grain, and I can actually, hopefully, I'm going to try and grow them in bags indoors because the grain is also inoculated, just in case this doesn't work. So I'm just going to take off those little bits of grain like that, and I'm going to pop them in the holes there. And just leave them sticking out for now, so I know where they are, and then I'll go behind with the hammer. So let me get on with that. quite a lot of road noise. I don't know why. It's Sunday, but there you go. It is. It is. Can't do a great deal about it. Okay, I'm just going to push, and I'm just going to do one species per log, I think. I've actually got some lion's mane in there as well in the house, which I'll try. They're a different size plug. They are. I think they're a 10mm or an 8mm plug, so I'll have to change the drill bit. But I'm trying to keep these bits of grain, like I said, to use to inoculate a bag of grain at some other point. There we go. In there like that. You can actually see the mycelium, which is the sort of root of the mushroom, if you like. It's actually peeling off these a little bit. Hopefully that won't affect it too much. Pop that there. And I'm sure, like I say, I'm doing it for the first time, so I'm sure there's better ways of doing it. I'm doing it, you know, the wrong way. I'm sure there's experts out there that will take pleasure in telling me that this is wrong, but that's fine. That's how we learn, isn't it? Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got another 3, so what I'm going to do is just try and get another 3. Maybe do some in the end there, look. 1, 2, 3. Right. Okay, so that's all of the yellow oyster mushrooms. Like I said, they're a pleurotus species. I don't know the actual proper name or which particular name they are. I'm sure somebody will be able to tell me. Where's that last hole gone? Where's the problem in it? There we go. And then I'm going to take the hammer. It's only a little hammer. And just drive them all in. And then just take the little this thing just to drive them in just below the surface, so when I put the wax on it'll stop them from getting infected, or contamination rather than infected. Though to be fair, these logs are already quite rotten, so there's probably lots of fungus already trying to create its own little world in there already. The last 3 on the end there. Okay, and like I said, I'm going to keep these grains here, because you can see the mycelium still on there, so I might be able to put these to a bag of grain or something if I get round to it. Pop them back in the bag so I know which one's which, like this. Fantastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same with the king oysters and the grey oysters on the 2 logs below it. So there we go. That's the last of them done. I'm going to go and melt the wax, and then I'm going to paint it over all of these holes. So yeah, join me over there. Now, those of you that follow me on Facebook or whatever, or know me or whatever, will probably recognise this. This is the barbecue made out of a ammunition case from the Second World War. It says up on here 1943. It did used to have the address of a Reverend Eggington, I believe, in Stowe Market or Felixstowe, but that's burnt off now. Yeah, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to light a fire in here, and then what I've got is this little tin can, an old tin can there, and I've put some of my wax firelighters in there. I know you can't see it too well, but I'll show you one here. And all they are, because obviously I do a fair bit of woodwork and things, is these here. Can you see that? There you go. And all it is old wax from old candles and things that you have left over, the bit that never burns, mixed with sawdust that I've got lying around the place. And as you can see in here, I've got some shavings from the plane, and all I'm going to do is set light to them. I'm going to break that up a little bit, it says. I'm not going to break it up because it's a little bit hard, and just get it going. I'm using my lighter. I do have the ferro rods. I know some of you might have already seen those. And just get this going. You'll see that lights, and it'll stay lit. I don't want to hold it, but you can see it's beginning to light there. And just get a little fire going. I don't need much of a fire, but just enough to melt the wax that's in there. Now obviously when you've got wax and an open flame, you've got to be a little bit careful, but careful's never been one of my strong points. I actually cut my lip last night, blowing through a copper pipe to try and make the fire go a little bit better. But then too many of my homebrew ciders, and not really thinking it through. This is already starting to melt in here. So that's just about done now. Well, it is done. I'm just going to take it off like that. Pop it there. I'll bring the camera over so you can see. I don't know if you'll be able to see in there, but it's not perfect. Like I say, they're made out of sawdust and wax. I've got a little brush and I'm just going to dab it on. So let's go back around there. So there we go. I've got my wax. I'm just going to dab it on over all these holes like that. There we go. Just paint a little bit on each one, just to seal that up. Down now. So there we go. I'm just going to do that all the way over. You can see the sawdust in there as well. And that just seals the holes up and stops any contaminants getting in there. And another thing I didn't say when I was showing you a minute ago is I've chosen this area purely because it doesn't get much sunlight here. In fact, it hardly gets any sunlight. It gets sunlight, but not direct sun. And so these logs should stay reasonably moist, which obviously any fungus is looking for. There you go. Do the ones on the end, don't forget those. There, like that. So yeah, I'm just going to finish this off and then I'll be back with you. So then that's that. I've waxed all these holes. Hopefully it works. Only one way to find out really now is just to sit back and wait, and hopefully we get some mushrooms. It'd be nice. I don't actually really like the flavour of mushrooms, but my wife enjoys them, and an experiment's always fun, isn't it? So if you like what I'm doing, why not hit the like button, the subscribe button, get it shared about as well, and the more of that kind of stuff that goes on, the more videos I'm likely to make. Thank you very much for joining me. Just keep on wombling.